It was a year ago today that I sat down in front of a very similar webcam and made this first entry. I had spent the night before, April 16th, 2007, not knowing if I was going to wake up the next morning or not. I was having chest pains, my heart was racing, and in retrospect, it was probably a panic attack, but at the time I thought I was going to die. I had given myself into fate, had decided, since fate had been stripping everything else away from me over the course of the past year, that if it wanted my life, it could have it, but if I woke up the next morning, that I was going to fight. And fight I did. I woke up on April 17th, 2007, and I made a commitment to get my weight under control, to get my weight under control for once and for all. And today is the 1 year anniversary, April 17th, 2008. I have lost 79 pounds since starting this a year ago. I am now down a total of 129 pounds since I began fighting my weight on September 6, 2006. I still have some ways to go. I want to stop at about 215. I want to set my ceiling at about 225. But I'm really pleased. This journey hasn't been without its road bumps. Over the summer after my move, I kind of fell back into old eating habits, a lot of fast food, a lot of takeaway, especially Chinese takeaway. In November, I started to really discover what some of my overeating triggers were. Being in certain places, being around certain people, and just particular living conditions. I'm a stress eater. I'm your classic stress eater. And being a doctoral student, there are 3 trigger times in the year. November for the fall finals week, April for the spring finals week, and August for the summer finals week. And in November, everything kind of rolled on me at once. I had finals week. I was in an environment that had people who were conducive to triggering, and I snowballed. November, I started to snowball. December started to snowball. January started to snowball. February continued to snowball, and finally at the very beginning of March, I just kind of dug in, grabbed hold of something, and started to build back. This has not been without losses. This has not been without struggles. But as I always tell my students, struggle always provides growth. And I think as I sit back and kind of reflect on the last year and do some annual assessment, that's kind of what I've spent most of the day doing, is pondering that growth. I always ask every class, their final activity for me is just some kind of a self-reflection. How are you different now than you were 15 weeks ago when we met? As a teacher, that's just something we always do in our craft. Reflection is just part of good teaching methodology. So I've spent a lot of today really thinking about what I've learned over the last year, and I think the very first thing that I've picked up is I still have a lot of fight left in me. This time last year I wasn't sure, and there have been times over the last academic year in particular with regards to my doctoral classes and some work I'm doing with professors, I wasn't sure how much fight I had left in me. There were a few times that I was just about ready to quit. A doctoral degree is almost like a very bad marriage with children. Some people will stick around, they'll stay married to each other, but as soon as those kids hit 18, they're splitting up. This is the story of my doctorate. I have been burned out since about year 2. I'm in the middle of year 3 right now, and I have another at least 2 years to go on this. The only thing keeping me going is the fact that I have invested that time, I have invested that money, and I need to get a payout of it. And that's really helped me realize just how much fight that I have left. When the chips are down, I can just pull it out, roll my sleeves up, and come out swinging. I don't always walk out. Sometimes I limp out. Sometimes I spend an entire semester break just kind of sequestered in my own little world, shutting everybody out because I'm just sick and tired of dealing with people, sick and tired of just everything. I want a week of me time. I think that was kind of my problem in December. I spent 3 weeks with my family and kind of got inadvertent me time because pretty much all of my relatives neglected me while I was sitting in Michigan for 3 weeks. But I wasn't home. I wasn't in my sanctuary. I didn't have that time to recharge, and I think that kind of continued that downward spiral that I went through this past fall. The other thing that I've learned in the last year, I've done a lot of work with identity, and I found that old identity threads trigger. They trigger these overeating episodes. They trigger these slides back into poor dress, poor grooming. And I was listening when I was at the gym on the treadmill today. I was listening to the soundtrack for Hedwig and the Angry Inch, which is kind of ironic. I didn't even realize until I was halfway through. But the whole film is a story about identity restructuring, identity discovery. Hedwig is kind of this hybrid male, hybrid female, trying to figure out who he is, who she is. And for me, at this point, I really have to figure that out. One of the issues that I've had, especially over the last 3 months, I've had a lot of friends who are still clinging to that identity. They still see me as the big, geeky, bearded, long hair. And when I try to get away from that, they just pull me back in. They pull me back in. And unfortunately, I'm not going to cut anybody loose, but at this point in time, my friends need to understand that that old image is gone. They need to let go of that old image because I let go of it. Today is, I guess you could say, almost awake. That old persona of who I was is gone. It's not coming back. I'm not going back there under any circumstances. The cool thing about that, though, again, coming back to Hedwig, at the very beginning of the song Angry Inch, it opens up with a quote, Hedwig saying, "To be free, you must give up a little part of yourself." And for me, at this point in time, my identity is a blank slate because I've always structured my identity around who other people want me to be. When I was an adolescent, it was who my father wanted to be, who my father's side of the family wanted me to be. When I was in college, it was who the gay community wanted to be. When I was in my 20s, it was who the chubby community and the bear community wanted me to be. Now, in my 30s, it's a combination of who the chubby and the bear community want me to be and who the academic community want to be. And I've never had that opportunity to sit down and really figure out who I am. In other words, how to shut out all those voices pushing these identities and pushing their views and opinions on me and actually sit back and decide for myself. So for me, right now, at the end of the first year, as I move into the second year, this is a huge opportunity. I look at my life almost as this blank canvas. Life begins for me at 35. So year one is over. This is the beginning of year two. When I wake up tomorrow, this will be the beginning of the second year of this process. Still working on my weight, still working on my body image issues. At this point in time, I've come to the realization that my weight and fitness is kind of ironic. I wanted to lose weight because I was afraid of coming up with diabetes. I did not want that kind of maintenance disease, especially just because I'm a huge screaming pussy when it comes to needles. I freely admit this. I did not want to be in a position where I would have to stick myself multiple times a day. I didn't want that maintenance. But the irony is my weight is a maintenance condition. I'm always going to have the potential to go to 360. I'm always going to have that potential to snowball. So now I need to move into this maintenance phase. The closer I get to 215, the closer I get to maintaining that final goal, I need to start thinking about how I'm going to successfully maintain this. So hopefully this time next year, I don't open up with a 3-minute speech about how something happened in July and that sent me on a snowball and I had to go out and I had to buy new clothes. So at this point in time, year one is done. Year one was the year of fire. Year one was the year everything burned, everything was stripped away, and now I'm left with this blank canvas. Year two is going to be the year of construction. Year two is going to be the year that I start to put things together. Year two is going to be the year that I start to do things for myself. So with that having been said, like I said, the old identity is gone. I'm going to go out and have a little wake with some sushi, and I'll periodically check in here.